Hello everyone. We're going to talk about Google Classroom today. So I'm going to go over a few things to help you out as you start this next assignment, but also show you how Google Classroom can be an effective tool, especially when we talk about distance or remote learning, but also learning within the classroom, especially from a technological standpoint. So what you see here on my screen, if you go to classroom.google.com, make sure you log in with your Laverne EDU. You should see this screen. This is the starting screen before you start anything. Now, you'll notice that there's two things in the middle. There's a create class or join class. You want to make sure you pick create class. The reason why you want to create the class is that you want to be in the teacher mode. If you pick join class, it's going to ask you to enter in a code. Usually it's like a 6-letter slash numerical code that sets up individual classes. So again, you want to pick create class. So that's what I'm going to do right here. Let's see, using Classroom as school. And okay, we're not using this one, so you don't have to worry about it, I don't think. Again, when you get into your district will have policies with regards to it. I just had to read that for a second. And if you're not at a specific school site, you don't want to use Classroom from a personal account. You just want to use it from your work account because that's how the students will be accessed. So if we want to create a class, I'm going to create test class. Okay, you can create section, subject, however you want to do it, and I'll show you how mine looks like as I work with the current high school district. You can even put room number. Especially when you're trying to work with multiple teachers, having the room number or the subject or the section could be helpful, but a lot of times the kids only need the class name. So here we go. I'm going to create the class. Just got to wait for it to do its thing. Once it does that, you're going to see right here, boom, it pops up. You can customize the background for that. You can always change the name of it. You'll notice on the left-hand side it says class code. This is the code that you would give to students to access the class. Okay, whether that's to access an entire class, years worth of stuff, or to access individual type classes for individual type lessons. That's up to you. You'll see right here, this is a place where you can post announcements to the class. So you may want to post something that, like an announcement, hey, make sure you get all your stuff turned in by a certain date. You do that, students will receive a notification, hey, there's something posted, there's an announcement. If you post an assignment, it will post on here, but also send them a notification if they've got it all set up. Okay, and the nice thing about announcements is that students can respond, as long as you allow it, they can respond to your announcements if you want to see who's really reading it. That kind of helps out, but it's just another way to communicate with your students online versus having to wait for them to show up to class. You'll see here at the top, there's the stream. That's where everything kind of shows up. Then you have classwork. Okay, this is where you can assign classwork right here. So I'm going to go into how to make an assignment. There's lots of different ways of doing it. I'm just going to show you a basic. I want you to play with it on your account so you can kind of see how different things work, especially as you work on kind of that little mini unit of stuff. So I'm going to create an assignment. And you can either create an assignment, a quiz assignment. You can ask a question for them to answer. You can post material, or one of the nice things about it is you can reuse a post. So if there's an assignment you used from previous years and you have it saved, you can reuse it in Classroom, so that way you don't have to recreate everything. That's a very nice thing. And you can organize things by topic. I'll kind of show you how some of that looks like in just a little bit. But if I create an assignment here, this pops up, the title of the assignment. So I'm going to put test assignment. You can put instructions, complete this, answer in complete sentences, however you want to do it. Okay, you put the instructions on there. There can be links on there, however you want to do it. Okay, over here on the right hand side for all students, or you can specify if there was like multiple students in the class for certain students. You can set up the point structure. You can set up the due date, which is nice because when you set a due date, you'll know who's late with the homework or who's not when it comes to the assignment. You can put it under a topic. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. And you can even add a rubric if you want. I'm going to try to see if I can add in, and you'll see over here you can add a Google Drive file, so that's nice. So if you've got a Google Sheet, a Google Doc that they have to work with, if you have anything that you want them to do online specifically, so they turn it in, that gets turned in. Make sure you have that set up. You can always upload files. And one of the things you can do is you can upload videos for them to watch as part of the assignment, so they can watch it and do something. So it's not just one thing that you can do. You can, of course, add links. You can add YouTube videos, which is kind of nice. If you have a lesson on YouTube, hint, hint, that lesson on YouTube can be put on here. So that's how Google and YouTube really work well together. And then you can attach any new items that you want. So one of my things I'm going to do is I'm going to try to attach a Google Drive file. I got to see if it's going to access my stuff. Let's see. Okay, I don't think this is, yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm on my Laverne account, so I don't have anything in Google Drive for that. I'll show you what it looks like from my current high, because then I can access the stuff, so you can see what it looks like. So let me get out of this. When you assign it, you press assign. Especially with the due date, one of the things you can do is you can schedule it. Okay, you can schedule it to show up on Google Classroom. Suppose you have a sub and you want it to show up at 8 o'clock in the morning. You can schedule it, and then all of a sudden, boom, there it is. And that's one of the nice things to be able to use that with, because if you're gone and if you've ever had to deal with subs, it's nice to have that where it pops up, the students will have it, and they can start working on it. You can also save the draft if you're not ready to finish it. So you start it and then you got to stop, save it, or you can discard it, which means that you just get rid of it. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to assign this, even though I don't have a task here, complete the task. And I'm going to leave it at 100 points, and I'm going to pick a due date. So when I pick that due date, I'm going to say March 20th, which is the same time as your assignment's going to be done, and you can pick the time. A lot of times I pick 11:59 p.m. Kids shouldn't be up at that time, but you want to make sure to give them as much time just in case of any technical issues. Once you got that, you click off of it. Notice it shows up right here. I don't have any topics yet, so I don't have to worry about that, or I don't have a rubric. And then once you press assign, it's going to assign it. And I know it's asking me to pick a topic, but we're not worried about that right now. There is the assignment. Okay. Now, if you go to the stream, you'll see here that there's a new assignment. Now, if I want to announce something, I can announce, hey, I posted an assignment. Please complete. Once you do that, you can have students, you can post it right then, you can schedule it and save it just like an assignment. You can attach links and everything, and you'll see some of the stuff that I'm going to show you in just a little bit. I mean, all that with the announcements works the same. It's just another way if you want an assignment, put it in the assignment so they access it that way, or in an announcement. Once I post it, it's in the stream. So everything goes from the latest, or the longest before is on the bottom, to the latest stuff, which happens on the top. So it's a top to bottom thing when it comes to the stream part. Now, when we look at people, normally, depending on your district, your population would already be in there. Okay, so you wouldn't have to add students necessarily. If it's a class, well, you could. You'd be able to add them, and your how do I say it? The system that you have at school will allow you to add it because it will be under a school account. Teachers. So when you create yours, you're the teacher. What you're going to need to do this week, and this is why I want to go over this, you'll need to do this. You'll need to invite teachers, and you'll need to click on this, type a name or email. In this case, you're going to type in dgago@laverne.edu. Okay? I want you to do that because then I'll have access to it. Okay? So once you've created kind of a class and it's time for you to turn in your assignment, this is how you're going to do it. If you don't invite me, I won't be able to see all the stuff. If you invite me as a student, that's different, and I'm only going to be able to see limited portions of it. So again, please remember, invite me as a teacher. You can do that early and then tell me when it's done. I won't look at it until the week is over. So if that's one of those things that you want to do first, go ahead and invite me. Okay, so please make sure to do it. I can't invite myself because this is my email, so you can't email with the same email. But if it's someone else, you can always invite someone, and they can be a teacher, which means they can edit things. And a lot of teachers like to work together, so you can collaborate on assignments and put things in, and that's another thing that you can do, and you can share the same students as well. So I'm going to cancel this. Okay, so I can't invite myself as another teacher, but this is how you would do it. So let me show you how some of this looks like from my point of view. So here's my Google Classroom that I have with a lot of different things. Okay, so you'll see here I've got something that says extra credit, third quarter last chance, geometry final extra credit. I've got workforce session 5, homeschool. So I've had to use it in different ways for different types of students. Now, the first thing about the extra credit, you can use Google Classroom and you can create its own separate class just for the extra credit. What I've done in the past is that I would teach Saturday school. It's a chance for them to make up, absences. They come in. I'd have a code, a specific class just for them that only they could access, and they can only access the extra credit. So if someone's at home and thinks that they're going to get in, they don't get in because they don't have the code and they're not allowed in. But in this, what I've done is I've posted assignments. I've got a few, digital assignments that I have them do for extra credit. You'll see like this one, Scooby-Doo Mystery Review. I'll go to the instructions right here. Just waiting for it to load up. But what I've done is I've created a Google Doc that it gets attached right here. And I tell them follow the instructions on the Google Docs file in order to complete the assignment. What they're going to do as a student is that they're going to go through, they'll click on it, and they will fill out that Google Doc and turn it in Google Classroom. You can do the same thing with a Google Sheet. You can do the same thing with a Google Form. Anything Google will connect with that and will be in such a way that they will complete it. So just to show you a little bit of the student work, in this case, I had 118 students, sign up. I told them, hey, sign up. And then I had 18 that actually did it. Okay, so I can see right here who's done it and how many people they have an opportunity to. Just to kind of show you what it looks like, when you go in to grade it, I tend to grade things on a different sheet of paper, my grade list, to turn it into our grading program, although you can grade on Google Classroom. Sometimes they connect with those grading programs, sometimes they don't, so just be prepared. But what I do is I go through each person, so I'm loading it up. This is one of my students' work, and when I say Scooby-Doo Mystery Review, they have to watch a Scooby-Doo episode, and they have to look at the clues. It's a logic type thing. Could they find out who the person is, the bad guy? So what they do is they're supposed to tell me what the YouTube video is, because usually they can watch it on YouTube. They tell me what the clues are. Notice that they typed it in. Your guess on the bad guy with reasons, and then who the bad guy is. And some kids get it really quick. Some kids are like, oh wow, I didn't realize that person. And they can edit this. And what they do is they turn this in. When I see it, then I can put over here on the right hand side their grade. I can even add private comments if I need to, just for them, just in case they need to see or fix something. Or I can return it to them saying, hey, wait a minute, this wasn't done right, fix it, and they can resubmit it so that they can get the full points, or however you want to do that. That's the nice thing about Google Classroom, is that you can do stuff where they can edit it still if you wanted them to and give it back to them. So that's just one way of doing it. So if I go back into my Google Classroom, again, I'll go to my classes, you'll see this one right here. Because I'm a mentor for the current high school district with some teachers, we as teachers can collaborate together using Google Classroom. So if you see here, this is where my current high school district can tell me all the stuff, mentor stuff. This is where I can get all the information. I can respond. I can turn in stuff if I need to. It's one of those nice things that teachers can collaborate. It's not just about students. And a lot of times teachers will collaborate in a place where they can submit stuff, share stuff, so other teachers can use it. It's a nice way of collaboration without having to actually meet with anybody. because right now we've been, we haven't gone to any meetings. We've done everything on Zoom. Guess what? This is a nice place where they could put all that information just in case someone misses a meeting or important information they have to access. So very, very important that it's not just for students. Okay. I'm going to go to a different class to show you a few things. Let me see. You'll see I've got a lot of things here. We used Google Classroom quite a bit at the start of the pandemic, but then we moved to Canvas. I know at least our district has moved to Canvas. We haven't used Google Classroom as much, but I use it here and there. But this is like for my statistics class, 7th grade. This is right before, this is right during COVID. So you'll see here that I've got announcements, senior announcements. I've posted assignments. So students are able to access all this stuff and they can respond if they want to. Okay. But when I go into classwork, this is where it's a little bit different. I can organize it by topics. So in this case, I've got, this is statistics work from my 3rd quarter and 1st quarter. Notice it doesn't have anything on it. But then here, statistics work from 414 to 529. So I can organize it by different little things. I can organize it by a topic. If you want to have one Google Classroom for a class where it's like math, science, social studies, English, you can do that. In fact, I'll show you that in just a second. But it's just a different way that you can organize things, and then you can go through and look at the assignments. You'll see over here people. I added my principal to it. My principal is Paul Hellman, because he wanted to make sure when we were on distance learning, when we started, that if there were any issues, he would have access to it so he can help parents, because they would contact the school. You can add as many teachers. You can add it. Don't have to add teachers, but it just depends on the collaboration that you have. You'll see here that I have my students here. Obviously, these students are ones that have graduated already, so a lot of the accounts are gone. Not all of them are. They work to get rid of those, but you'll see that there's a lot of different people here. These are the students. So if I ever have to contact a student individually through Google Classroom, I can do that there. If I have to delete someone or add someone, I can do that as well. So those are some of the features of Google Classroom that you could use. Let me show you one thing. Let's see, right here. I had a homeschool student, and this is how you can kind of separate it by topics. So as a homeschool teacher, I have to teach all the subjects, so I talk to all the other teachers, and we get in contact and figure out what she has to, in case homeschool students have to do to help them stay on target. So what I've done, and unfortunately it's not loading up yet, but no big deal, you can kind of see it. I broke it up. Spanish 2, there's assignments. English 10, there's assignments. PE, there's assignments. Biology, world history, and algebra. So what that means is that I can break it up based upon the subject, and they can access it because they can go into classwork as a student, and they can see all of their assignments that they have to do. Okay? And some of it can be where it's due by a certain time. It could be a continuous thing. There's a lot of different ways that you can approach it. But if we were to talk about making an assignment, so I'm going to go back here. I'm going to I'll pick something from the year before. In this case, a foundations class. This was during the pandemic, so most of these students, they're graduating actually this year. They were freshmen when I had them. So if I go to classwork, I can create an assignment. If I create that assignment, again, the same thing appears where I can do the due date, the topic, and everything. So I'm going to do test assignment. Hopefully nobody even though they're seniors, they're not going to access it. Hopefully not. We'll find out. But if I want to pick something from Google Drive, and this is where it's really helpful for that, what I can do is I can pick an assignment, and you'll see that this is populated right here because this is recent stuff that I was working on. I'm setting up plans for one of my classes that I have to do. I can pick this one right here. In this case, this is a Google Sheets assignment that I'm using with some of my students. I can insert that. Now you can have a few things. Students can view the file. You can have it to where students can edit the file, or you can make a copy for each student. If it's something that you want them to actually do, you want to make sure they get a copy because it'll be their own individual copy. It won't ruin the template. There are some cases where you might have them edit the file when you want everybody to collaborate in there, and they all can collaborate. that's something. Or if you just want them to view it, you can do that. It just kind of depends on what you want to do. But what I would normally do is make a copy for each student, because when they turn it in, then you can give them an individual grade. So again, complete the assignment. And there you go. Oh, I didn't spell complete correct, or I did put 2 capitals. I can do points, I can do due date, I can do topic. In this case, once I've made topics in that previous page, they're going to show up here, so I can put it in a specific spot. Okay. So it just kind of depends on what you want to do, but that's how you can bring in Google Sheets. Okay. Couple other ways that you can do it, and it just kind of depends. And I'm just going to discard this because I don't want any students to see if something happens. So I'm going to discard this draft. But if I kind of go back to another one, again, going back to my statistics, one of the things that you could do, and I'll show it. Let's see. I made an assignment where you can put multiple things. So I've got a Google Doc that they get access to, and I've got videos for them to watch. So the videos they can't do anything with. All they do is view them, but they can also do the Google Doc, complete the assignment. Everything's all self-contained. So it makes it very easy for them to do it. And then when you go to check their work, you don't have to worry about the videos being part of it, because when you check student work, a lot of times they'll put an attachment or something like that, which is perfectly fine. But in this case, this person was able to access this, do all the work that they're supposed to do, and complete the assignment. Okay, and if they do attach something else, which is very possible in Google Classroom, they may attach another file, a picture file. They can do that, and that will be added on, so they can look, and you can look and see if there's any extra work that they have to do. In this case, they had to show me their calculations, their statistical calculations, how they got their answers. So they had to do 2 things. Okay, so while you may have them work on a Google file, you may want them to submit a picture, and believe it or not, the kids are very good about submitting pictures, doing the attachments. If they have a Chromebook, it can automatically do it for them. They can do it from their phones. That's the nice thing about Google Classroom, is that it can be accessed via phone. You can still do everything. You can access all Google apps through your smartphone, which means that you could literally write a term paper using your phone without ever having to use a computer, and you can turn it in on Google Classroom without ever having to touch a computer. That is the possibility that Google has allowed us to have, compared to, say, Microsoft products, which most of the time you have to have a computer for. So hopefully this kind of gives you an idea of what to do. Again, on your assignment for Google Classroom, remember, you want an intro. So it might be something that you might post a introduction, like this is what we're going to do. You want to have that lesson video. Again, we've already created one, so you're more than welcome to use the same one again. Have some sort of activity they're going to do. That could be a choice board. That could be a Google Doc that they fill out. Have something that they can do. Then you want them to have some sort of assessment. Again, we've done something like this. So again, I don't want you to have to recreate the wheel, but you can attach a Google form just the same way that you can attach a Google Doc or a Google slide deck. And then lastly, just have some sort of exit activity that they will have to complete, and they can do on there. And as long as you've got those things, you'll be fine, and they'll get you at least a little bit into what Google Classroom is. Again, this is not a deep dive into it. Again, we can't do too much at the moment, but at least it'll give you some ideas of how you might be able to use it. If you do have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. If you run into any technical issues, that's why I'm here. But hopefully this helps you out with this assignment.